Hey guys! Today I'm going to be pressing some mineral eyeshadows and pigments. I think this is really fun. I find it kind of therapeutic in a way. If you like doing crafty things, this is kind of a neat way. If you have a lot of loose mineral eyeshadows or pigments, this is great. I'm going to be using Raving Beauty Cosmetics pressing medium. I'll post the link to her website down below, and I'm also using her mineral eyeshadows as well. So up here I have some that I've pressed before. I don't know, it's just really fun. If you ever press matte pigments, very similar process, except I'm using this. For mineral eyeshadows and pigments, it's a little bit different because they kind of need something to help kind of bind them together. Regular, rubbing alcohol is just not going to cut it, so this is great. It does change the color of the eyeshadow that you're pressing. It does kind of make it more vibrant. I feel like the pigmentation is awesome and they go on really nicely. They almost feel kind of creamy in a way. So obviously you're going to need some mineral eyeshadows and pigments. Again, these are from Raving Beauty Cosmetics. The pressing medium, also from Raving Beauty. You need some alcohol just to disinfect the tools that you're using. Obviously you'll need some little eyeshadow pans, empty ones. You can also buy these on her website as well. A little container to mix in. She sells empty 5-gram containers, but this is just a little clamshell type thing that I have. You're going to need something to stir with. It's just a little plastic spoon. You can use a spatula. I've heard people using bobby pins. I wouldn't use a toothpick just because it's, it's made of wood and it's kind of porous and it'll absorb liquid and stuff. You're going to need a quarter or a coin that would fit into the little pan that you're going to be pressing into. So you can see this one fits nicely in there. And then you're going to need, I'm just going to use a paper towel. You can use a piece of fabric that has a nice hatch mark on it if you want it to look pretty. Honestly, I just use paper towel. It's absorbent and it works. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I started by disinfecting everything that I'm going to be using. And this is 91%. Anything will do really, just to get it clean and disinfected. Make sure everything is sterilized before you get started. So I have 4 new colors here from Raving Beauty Cosmetics. I have 2 purple ones. This one's gorgeous. This one's called Berry Wine, and it's this hot purple color. These are always full to the top, so I always hate opening them. Look at that. It's so bright and vibrant. Gorgeous. This next one is Peru. This one's really pretty. Also a nice purple color. This one's Carbon, which is just your basic matte black color. And this one's Scallion. Really nice green. I think I'm going to go with the Peru. I'm going to be careful opening this. And it says in her directions to use a teaspoon, which is probably the amount that's in here. I'm only going to press half this jar, so I'm going to transfer some of that into my little jar that I'm going to be mixing in. About that much. You can always add to it. I'm going to take my mixing medium. You have to shake this up really well. And you want to start with very few drops. You don't want this to be very wet at all. So I'm going to start with just 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's 4 or 5. I don't know. And I'm just going to mix it. You don't want this to be too wet. You kind of want it to be crumbly. Like when you pull it to the side, you want it to kind of stay together, but you still want to be able to break it apart, if that makes any sense. Dry type of consistency. Otherwise, this is just not going to dry. So I'm going to add a couple more drops. I think that was 3. Again, mixing it and bringing it in from the sides. I want to see the consistency right now. Probably use a little bit more water, or a little bit more of the mixing medium. Not water, you don't want to use water. Probably 2 more drops. It's easier to add more liquid than it is to take it away. Really, there's no way to take away the liquid except by adding more of the pigment. That's why it's good to not press the whole container right away. Just in case you do end up adding a little too much of the mixing medium, you want to have a little bit of the eyeshadow left to add on to it to kind of help it absorb some of that liquid. So I want to show you the consistency of this now. You can see it's still kind of crumbly, but if I were to take it all to one side and press it against the wall of the container, you can see that it stays up there. So I think that's pretty. And now I'm going to take my pan You can spray it with some alcohol. I don't have a little spray bottle, so I'm just actually going to pour just a little bit of rubbing alcohol in there, coat the bottom of it. Now I'm going to transfer our little pasty powder into the container. And if you are pressing a ton of eyeshadow, you can do this in layers. And the amount that I used isn't going to fill a whole pan, just keep that in mind. If I were to press the whole jar of eyeshadow, it probably would fill it up a lot better, but this is probably going to fill it up maybe halfway. So you can see I'm just arranging it, pressing it to the edges just slightly. Kind of like you're putting a pie crust in a pie pan. So now I'm going to take my quarter and my paper towel, and I'm just going to open my paper towel up, and I'm going to wrap the quarter in the paper towel, just a corner of it. I'm going to twist it tight, so it looks like that, and I'm going to use that quarter wrapped in the paper towel to press my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to show you real quick what it looks like. So that's what it looks like in the pan. You can see I've just kind of spread it around to the edges. It's not completely flat, so now that's where the quarter comes in. It's going to really pack it in there really nicely. So I'm going to put the quarter in the tin and then press really hard. And you can lift it and see the paper towel absorbed a lot of the extra moisture. Now I'm just going to move it to another section of paper towel and do the same thing again. Make sure it's nice and packed in there. Go around the edges, pressing really hard. So that filled it up about halfway. It's really pretty. It's always fun to see like the finished product. Now if you have more product in your mixing container, or you want to press the rest of it, do it in layers. So this would be the first layer, and if I had more product in here, which I have a little bit, not enough to do like a whole nother layer or anything, but let's just do that. So you would press it layer by layer. It's just going to be easier that way as opposed to just doing it all at once. So I did the first layer, and I'm just going to put whatever's left. Actually, there was quite a bit left in there. Look at that. Good bit. And I'm just going to spread that as evenly as I can around the pan, just so it makes it easier to press when it's nice and uniform. I added more of the eyeshadow in there. You can see I didn't really do a good job of spreading it out very evenly, but that's okay. I'm just going to take my quarter again on a different section of my paper towel, or if you're using a piece of fabric with a nice hatch mark pattern, twist it up again and press it really hard. So that would be like my second layer. And again, if you had more, just add the rest of the product in and then press it again. So you want to do it in layers, like I said, because it's just going to make it easier for you to press it. It's going to be a little more even. Again, I'm just going to move my quarter to a different section. And then press it again, going around the sides and the edges, making sure you're trying your hardest to get it really even. And there's my finished product. It's really pretty. Look at that. I think it's gorgeous. So now you would want to let this sit overnight before using it. Let it dry completely. If you want to speed up the process a little bit, you can put it in the oven and leave it there for a few minutes just to really dry it out. You can see that's gorgeous. And you can see that this is the pressed color, and here's the loose one. You can see that it's made it a little bit darker, and the texture of it's obviously going to be different because it's pressed. And like I said, this mixing medium kind of gives it more of like a creamy consistency, which is really nice. I know I haven't let it sit completely, but I'm going to swatch it for you anyway. So here are the eyeshadows that I've pressed. This is the one I just pressed, which is Peru. This is Mystic Fairy, Venus Teal, right here. This one's Iced Beige, and this is Soft Rose. So here they are swatched. The swatch on the left is the pressed eyeshadow, and then on the right is their dry, loose counterpart. So the first one on the top right there on the left is Peru, and then Mystic Fairy next to that on the right. And on the bottom row you have Venus Teal, Iced Beige, and Rose. So you can see they look very different swatched when they're pressed versus when they're dry. Pigmentation of the loose shadows is really nice to begin with, but when they're pressed, they just become so much more vibrant, and the texture is just really creamy, almost like you're touching a cream shadow.